What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it would appear that normal people are fighting back against woke capitalism. What is woke capitalism? Well, it's these companies like Coca-Cola that train their employees to hate themselves based on the color of their skin. It's companies like Nike that are virtue signaling nonstop here in the West while their shoes are made by, in sweatshops. It is American Airlines. It's all of these companies that, Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta for politics while taking jobs away from thousands in the black community. They're removing a revenue opportunity for them. It is everything we hate about super huge mega corporations. It's exactly what I talk about when I meme on the left, how they often, I'm talking leftists, not moderate or liberals. I'm talking about these clowns that are the personification of the I'm fighting the power. I stand with Nike and American Airlines and Major League Baseball. Me, a revolutionary, stand with super huge mega corporations. The hypocrisy, the willing disconnect from modern day craptivists is hilarious to me. It's a foundational tenet of the entertainment my channel provides. And by the way, if you enjoy the channel, please take a second to click that red subscribe button down below the video. A huge portion of my viewers aren't subscribed, and it really helps in terms of YouTube considering my videos in the search results if you subscribe. So please consider. Now, there is a conservative group launching ad campaign against woke capitalism, targeting CEOs by name. Now, look, one of the biggest struggles in the, I won't say like the right, so to speak, but it does include conservatives, is the cancel culture eye for an eye. I know the temptation. I have fallen into the trap of participating in cancel culture on the right. Boycotts don't really work. Even centrists, I'm saying, too, I would consider myself probably a libertarian or a centrist. The idea that an eye for an eye, they cancel one of ours, we go for one of theirs. Mutually assured destruction is one way to go about it. And on some days I feel really, on board with that. Other days I want to be better. In this case, this is probably more of an eye for an eye type thing. Ads criticize American Airlines CEO Doug Parker for his high pay at a time of layoffs and taxpayer bailouts in the industry. They target Coca-Cola CEO James Quincy over obesity in America, and they criticize Nike CEO John Donahoe over allegations of accepting free labor from China. These are things that, by the way, I'm 100% fine with. I think informing consumers that that a lot of these companies don't practice what they preach, and maybe you should reconsider giving them your money, is a good thing. I also think that this kind of throwing your money at a company just because they are anti-woke is also not exactly good. There are a lot of bad actors in there who come in and will say, like, everybody buy this coffee company because they make fun of SJWs. Like, I don't buy that either. You should buy the best products. Now, the decision is to weigh in on political issues is fraught for American CEOs who generally prefer to avoid fights that could alienate a large chunk of customers. A conservative group is launching an advertising campaign Tuesday designed to push back against woke capitalism, spending more than $1 million on ads targeting CEOs of Coca-Cola, American Airlines, and Nike. The ads are sharply critical of CEOs on a range of issues, from childhood obesity to forced labor. Organizers say the campaign is being mounted by the conservative group Consumers Research, and is designed to change the thinking in corporate boards around the economic and political costs of getting involved in flashpoint issues such as voter rights. Increasingly, we're seeing companies taking their eye off the ball, said William Hild, Executive Director of Consumer Research. Our focus is always on the consumer, and that's what it should be for these companies as well. I agree. But increasingly, we're seeing them work to curry favor with woke politicians rather than focusing on serving their customers. The Dark Money Group says it will not disclose who is financing the campaign, saying that it respects donors' privacy. Consumers Research says that it will run ads on CNBC, Fox Business, and local stations in cities where the companies are headquartered. There will also be an online component to the campaign. Now, replete with ominous videos of the CEOs casting them very much like opposition candidates in a political campaign. The ads target the company CEOs by name. The ads criticize American Airlines CEO Doug Parker for his high pay at a time of layoff and taxpayer bailouts. They criticize, and we're going to take a look at some of these ads because they're kind of funny. Asked for comment on the new campaign, American Airlines referred CNBC to a statement in April on its involvement in the Texas voter rights dispute. As Texas-based business, we must stand up for the rights of our team members. No, you don't. Actually, you have to pay your employees better. You have to pay your employees on time. You have to give your employees a safe working condition. You have to grow as a company so you can hire more Texans. That's what they want. They don't want their company pissing away money on political activism. 50% of those surveyed agreed that CEOs have a responsibility to speak out on important social and political issues and should continue to do so. But another 50% agree with the statement that CEOs have gotten too involved. The idea is that it's how you spin it, right? There's lies, there's dang lies, and then there's statistics. 50% isn't exactly a majority. And you see here, writes Murray, more than 80% agree that everything possible should be done to make it easier for private citizens to vote. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but I don't care about it coming from Coca-Cola. Some of the ads are pretty hilarious. Let's take a look. Why is Nike constantly political? To give them cover while they exploit foreign labor in communist China. Okay, let's see what the ad says here. By the way, it doesn't appear that these ads are getting a ton of traction on Twitter, but that's because Twitter agrees. Twitter worships these corporations. Let's look at the ad.
Nike is constantly political. Why? Cover. Congressional reports suspect Nike used forced labor in China. Religious minorities were ripped from their families, sterilized, sold to factories. Nike made shoes in those same areas. Congress tried to ban Nike's labor practices. Nike fought back with highly paid lobbyists. Rather than hiring Americans, Nike chose China. John Donahoe. Nike. Stop exploiting foreign labor. Serve your customers. Not woke politicians.
I mean, it is a little conservative, but I think overall good. I think that you look at these companies, and until we stop supporting them with our money, they're not going to stop. And so, you know, there are a lot of people that provide flights in this country. If you don't agree with American Airlines and their political activism, then you shouldn't fly them, and then let them know why.
American Airlines, rated the worst, losing the most bags, shrinking legroom. American requires passengers to show ID to fly, but attacks Texas's popular voter ID law. Why?
That's funny. Yeah, that's always one of the most hilarious memes is these companies require an ID to use their service, but they don't want you to require an ID to vote.
CEO Doug Parker trying to appease the radical left, to distract from billions in taxpayer bailouts, from his $10 million payday, from Americans' record layoffs. Doug Parker, American Airlines, serve your customers, not woke politicians.
It's actually a good point. You know, $10 million salary, your airline took billions in bailout money. Maybe worry about that. Maybe worry about that. Worry about your customers. Nike, you know, same thing. These companies find it. I mean, if you just look at Nike, look at this is what they have in their headline. Nothing about shoes, but they have a hashtag BLM, hashtag Stop Asian Hate. Don't you sell tennis shoes? I don't care what Nike has to say about complex political issues. I don't care I don't care at all. Nobody cares. And Nike doesn't really care either. What they care about is garnering favor with politicians so they don't get in trouble for some of their other more sketchy practices. Hey, it may come off as a little cringe, but I'm 100% for people getting educated on who they give their money to and making better decisions. That's how you defeat this. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.